Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming to our welcome session today. It is lovely to see you here, and in fact this is one of the highlights of the year for us when we actually get to meet new students coming into our program and hear about your plans for your study and talk to you about what your options might be, and it's a very exciting time of the year for us. So welcome and thank you for joining us. Before I move into talking about the things that we'd like to talk to you about today, I'd like to acknowledge that I have the privilege of living and working on the unceded lands of the Kaurna people. We're in an institution whose expertise is in research and education, and we're on land that for all of the time of human habitation have been places of science and learning. I'd like to pay my respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander elders and to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people who are in the room or who are watching the recording online later in the week. Bit of housekeeping. Occasionally fire alarms go off. If they do, most of you will be familiar with what they sound like. We'll direct you if we need to evacuate. But essentially we'll evacuate out of the glass doors to the side of the building, and we'll take you down to the Oval and come back and hopefully when they let us. There are toilets just down the corridor past the little kitchenette if any of you need to use those facilities while you're here. As you came in, you might have noticed that there's some festivities happening down on campus. I could see a musician down there and there's some stalls. When we finish today, I encourage you to, if you can, to stay back and go and have a look and see what's there. There's lots of opportunities at Flinders to get involved in clubs and societies and other activities in addition to your study. They can be a great way of networking with other students, both in your degree, but meeting other people in other degrees. And probably all of us who are slightly older than you and out of university, will tell you that we still have friends that we met at uni. Okay, so it's these people are on the journey with you. They can be a great source of support and friendship to you, and some of them will end up being lifelong friends. In my case, bridesmaids. Okay. All right. The first person I'd like to introduce to you is Louisa, who is our academic lead. So we're a group called a teaching section, and Louisa is responsible for the overall leadership of our team.
Hello everybody. Thank you, Jane. I'm Dr. Louisa Matviachik, so I have an unpronounceable name if you have a look at it. So don't look at the spelling, but it's Matviachik. And I'm really, really excited to see you today. And I'm also feeling a bit nervous. I think it takes me back to many, many years ago when I first started university here at Flinders. I was doing biological sciences, and I remember the first day sitting up on top of the hill in Anchor Court outside of the science lecture theatres and being absolutely clueless about where I was, what I was supposed to do, what I was going to do. Didn't know a soul. It was quite overwhelming, but also exciting. So I think health sciences is the second largest course in our college. We have a lot of students from diverse areas studying diverse parts of health sciences. Learning is really, really exciting. This is such a fabulous opportunity for all of you. And I know that it sounds like it'll take a long time to finish what you're doing or to get where you're going, but you'll find it goes really, really quickly. So make the most of the opportunity. If you see any of us, come and say hello to us and tell me a little bit about yourself, or tell us about yourself. Ask any questions. And the other thing is look out for all the announcements. So if you haven't already, go onto Flow, go to the Health Sciences General Information page, and you'll find lots of information there about your course, all sorts of things, opportunities, events, and those announcements which are really special, and also a little bit about all of the academic team. So I'm not going to say any more than that because Jane and Jen, who fabulous academics here will tell you everything you need to know and will look after you, and you'll meet some of the other academics. Okay, so don't forget to come and say hello if you ever see me. Thank you.
Thank you. So I've kind of introduced myself briefly already, but I'll do it properly now. So my name is Jane Harford, and the reason that I'm standing up here with Jen today is because I'm the course coordinator for the course that you're doing. That means that I have responsibility for making sure that you get a quality education experience, but I'm also responsible for keeping an eye out for you and making sure that where we can, we help you to keep travelling along in your studies at a good pace. This is the email address that I try to use for course coordinator communication. The reason that I use this and not my personal email address is that I get a lot of emails about all kinds of things to my personal email address. I can easily tell if it's from a student if it comes to this email address. So this one gets priority. So if you're contacting me about a course or study issue, that's the best way to get hold of me. I've included my phone number there, but in reality I'm not at my desk very often, so email is a much better way to contact me. I've been at Flinders for almost 8 years. I have had a varied career, working as a clinician, as a registered nurse, working in Commonwealth Government in aged care policy, working in hospital administration in a public hospital in Melbourne that closed down shortly after I left, not related. So I've had lots of experience working in different aspects of health, and I bring that both to my head about course coordinator and thinking about what I understand about the healthcare system and what opportunities there might be for you in that, but also in my teaching, because I've got lots of juicy stories that I can tell. Okay, so your courses. So can I say thank you to those of you who replied to the survey and let us know what you wanted to hear today. It was really helpful because there were some things that we hadn't thought that we would talk about that we've included, and some more detail about your course is one of them. So thanks very much to Jen for having the idea of having the survey. We'll be doing that in future because it was absolute gold for us. So everyone in the room today is hopefully in one of these 3 programs, these courses, and if you're in the bachelor's degree you might be taking the therapy studies specialisation or the physiology and neuroscience specialisation. Can I get a sense of who's in the room? Do we have any people doing the diploma? I know we have at least one. People doing the diploma? Yep, okay, great. Associate degree? Bachelor's degree, either without a specialisation, okay, the majority of people. And Bachelor of Letters. Okay, good. So we can have a talk about what your goals are. Fantastic. I spoke to a few people before the session started, and the people that I spoke to were generally pretty confident that they'd enrolled in all of their topics and registered for tutorials, which is great. But just as a reminder, your first semester should include that first topic up there, HLTH 1010, Research and Study Skills 1. That topic is designed to arm you with some really key skills to support you to succeed in your studies. And in other topics, we assume that you've done work in that topic and that you have skills from that topic. So it's a really key one for you to do first. So I think if I go... So make sure that you're in that topic this semester. In first year, there's 4 other, what we call core topics. So all of these topics are core topics in your program, which means that everybody in your program will do those topics. So the first 5 that are in the light colour are in all of the undergraduate programs, and a couple of them are in letters. For those of you who go on to the associate degree and bachelor's degree, or who are already in them, you'll do another research and study skills topic and 2 additional topics where you concentrate on sociological perspectives on health and psychological perspectives on health. Sorry, I'll go back to 3rd year. If you're in the diploma or the associate degree or the bachelor's degree, you'll also pick up 3 additional topics to complete 1st year. For some of you, there'll be recommended option topics that you take. 1 or 2 of you might have an elective, but generally they'll be from a list of option topics that you can take. And those option topics have been designed to align with other programs that you might want to go into. So in the diploma and in the associate degree and the bachelor's degree, you can do exactly the same 1st year that people in the OT double degree or the physio double degree are doing. So that if you are successful in transferring across at the end of 1st year, you get full credit for the year. So if you're unsure about which topics you should be enrolling in for your goals, my health sciences email address is the one to check with me on. 2nd year, we've got 3 core topics, and you'll take another 5 topics. And the topics that you take will depend on whether you're in a specialisation, and we've named most of those topics. If you're doing the the therapy studies OT, there'll be some electives. And then in 3rd year, some more research and study skills and a topic in law and ethics. And then you'll have 6 other topics that you take, and they'll be different depending on which program you're in. Those 3rd year topics will only be if you go on to finish a Bachelor of Health Sciences. Just one other detail which I should have said here. Topic names have a meaning, so HLTH topics generally means that they're taught by our team. Not always, but generally. All topic codes have 4 letters, and they're followed by 4 numbers. And the first of those 4 numbers is the year level of the topic. So you'll see that all of the ones in the light blue, the first number in the 4-number part is 1. In the middle section, in the darker blue, which are the 2nd year topics, the number in the code starts with 2, indicating a 2nd year topic. And likewise, in the bottom section, the 3rd year topics, the first number in the code is a 3. You should, as much as you can, take topics in number order. As an aside, one of the things that I sometimes observe is that students who are hoping to do paramedics will take a couple of 2nd year topics that are also in the paramedicine degree to get more credit if they transfer over. Those topics are taught at a level that assumes you've got a higher level of study skills than the 1st year topics. So coming in as a new student, those topics will be much harder for you to do well in than the 1st year topics. So avoid doing 2nd year topics before you've done 1st year topics, if you can. Is that sufficient? Okay. And for people doing letters, there are those 4 core topics, and then there are 4 option topics that students can select from to make up the full 8 topics for a Bachelor of Letters. Okay, one of the questions that came up in the survey was, well, what can health sciences lead to? So I've got 2 slides. One is about study and one is about work. Some of the people that I've spoken to already are in the first group here of people who've come to health sciences to do a year perhaps, or a few topics in order to achieve a grade point average. So a grade point average, or GPA, is a score that's calculated based on the grades that you have for the topics that you've completed. So for students who are in that group, there's the potential with a competitive GPA to apply via SATAC to move into the Health Sciences Occupational Therapy double degree. And if you select the same topics in your first year of study as are in the first year of that program, you'll get full credit, a full year's credit for that. The same with Health Sciences Master of Physiotherapy, and I've spoken to 2 people this morning who one for each of those. It's also possible to apply to study optometry. The credit isn't as good because optometry has some unique topics, but certainly the 5 core topics from the first year of the BHS can be credited to the BHS component of the optometry program. And we see a lot of students who come to us hoping to apply for paramedicine, and there is a small amount of credit that can be granted if you move into paramedicine. Depending on which topics you take in first year, it's usually 2 topics. If you stay and finish a BHS with us, and again, subject to having a competitive grade point average, our degree allows you to qualify to apply for any of these programs listed here. So the Master of Occupational Therapy or Physiotherapy, there are prerequisite topics for those programs, so there are things you must complete in your undergraduate degree in order to be eligible to go into those programs. And both the therapy studies and physiology and neuroscience specialisations allow you to meet the prerequisites for those. And again, if you want somebody to check to make sure you're doing the topics that will set you up, the Health Sciences email address will be a great place to start. But there are some other programs that don't quite have the same, or future professions, that don't have quite the same high profile as OT and physio that you can take at Flinders. Audiology and speech pathology, crucially important health services. Both of those are open to students who have a Bachelor of Health Sciences, and in fact for each of those programs there are currently 5 places set aside for students from Health Sciences who have a high enough GPA to go in. So you're not competing for those programs with everybody else who wants to do them. So they're a good option for health science students. A graduate diploma in environmental health practice for people who have an interest in science and maybe don't want to be working in clinical practice, want to do something in health. Working in environmental health practice might be an option for you. And we have a section on our Health Sciences General Information Flow site that has some information about that program and about careers in that program. Apparently it takes, I don't know, a huge number of weeks to fill jobs in that field because there just aren't people to do them. Or you can think about something that's not necessarily quite so closely related to clinical health services. We have students who go into teaching with a health science degree, people who go into social work with a health science degree and become medical social workers. There's a really strong synergy between health and social work. Many people who social workers work with have a lot of interactions with the health system, and having social workers who have a good understanding of health is really important there. And also public health. So for people who are interested in health, maybe don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of environmental health, but want to do something that works with population groups, public health is a great option for you. Work. I always hesitate about putting work, specific jobs up for these presentations, because when we think about the health system, we generally think about the people that we see on TV shows or that we see in clinical practice as users of health services. Doctors, nurses, OTs, physios, audiology, speech pathologists, a range. There are many, many, many roles in the health field system and in related fields that are not clinical roles. I've been in one myself when I worked in a public hospital in Melbourne. I worked in medical administration, and in the time that I was there I was responsible for making sure that we recruited and had in place on the ground on a daily basis and paid properly the medical staff in the hospital. They were amazingly qualified, highly skilled, brilliant people doing a great job, but they couldn't do it unless I had them all there in the right place at the right time and got them paid. So the roles in the background of the healthcare system are really important. I also worked in the Commonwealth Government for a number of years, being involved in trying to make sure that we had continued to have a world-class aged care system in South Australia. We have one of the best aged care systems in the country still, because of the hard work that happens between the organisations that run those services and the levels of government that regulate and fund those services. So that was a role where what I did is still having an impact. I used to have these big fights with architects about bathrooms. This is kind of boring, but... So this was 30 years ago, and about 3 years ago, somebody who I used to work with said, you know, the people in Whyalla still say, thank God we had Jane arguing with the architects, because otherwise we would have had to spend millions of dollars replacing our bathrooms, because they wouldn't have been suitable for the people who are living here now. So you can have a big impact in those roles. Employers, government, so I've talked about Commonwealth Government. I worked in a public hospital that was in Victoria. Non-government agencies, so aged care services, people providing services in the disability field, local council, which is where a lot of environmental health happens, but local council in South Australia, most local councils, particularly the big ones, have a health and community services unit, so they do a lot of work around health and wellbeing. Private practices, so particularly if you go on to qualify as a health professional, but again, many private clinical practices are now employing a lot of people to do project work, in particular to work on service development and service improvement. Hospitals, community health clinics, non-profit organisations. I was talking to a graduate last week who is working for an organisation that is involved in working with, I believe, young people with a disability on leadership development, so that young people with disabilities can actually take control of the agenda in relation to the needs of young people with disabilities, and schools and education facilities. So there's lots of opportunities, and there will be jobs that I can't even imagine now rolling out over the next few years. So this slide has specific information about the courses for people who are in the room today. I'll put all of these slides into the flow site so that you can find them. But if you're not sure about what topics you should be doing, or if you want to understand some detail about your program, these are the rules that govern the program or the course that you're in. It's part of our contract between the university and you about, provided you do the work, what we will offer you as a service provider. And there's a link there for the BHS General Information Flow site that we've talked about. Okay, hopefully you've found the free Wi-Fi, but if not, here's the details for how to log into it. You'll use a lot of data while at university, so make the most of the free Wi-Fi. Hopefully all of you are enrolled in topics and registered for classes. If not, it's something that I encourage you to do today. And again, if you struggle with that, or you're not sure about which topics the health sciences email address. If it's a technical issue, if the system's not working for you, start with Flinders Connect. Students sometimes contact me about technical issues. I can't see or do anything about the student-facing systems for the university. So as much as I'd love to help, all I end up doing is suggesting that you contact Flinders Connect. So do that first. And if you do need to talk to me, they'll tell you. Hopefully you've got an ID card. I saw a few hanging off bags and things. You'll need that for some of the services at the university, but also having a full-time student ID card gets you student discounts. So that can be really useful when you're studying. Okay, this slide has step-by-step instructions for enrolling and registering for classes. I won't read it out. It's no good to you, no good doing that, but you know where to find it. If you need it, it'll be on the BHS General Information Flow site. Okay, you will hear us talking about Flow. Flow is short for Flinders Learning Online, and it's the learning management system that we use here. So most of you who have come from school in recent years will be used to having some kind of system at school where you have files and submit assignments and things like that. Flow serves that purpose, but it allows us to do quite a bit more than that. And each week, Flow will step you through the activities that you need to do for each topic. It will include general information about the topic that you're studying. So there's one for each topic. And it will also include all of the information you need to know about your assignments, so how your learning will be assessed in each of the topics. The software that we use for Flow is called Canvas, so sometimes people might say Canvas, but the two are the same thing. You should have access to all Flow sites for all of the topics that you're enrolled in. If you don't have access to a Flow site by the morning after you enrol in a topic, it's worth going back and checking to make sure that your enrolment in the topic actually recorded in the system. And the orientation planner has more information about that. Has everybody found Flow? Okay. I would make that a to-do thing today. All right, and most of your topics will have either required or recommended textbooks. We have information about those in the Flow sites, but there's also information about them at this site. Just a word about textbooks. There's more and more publishers are providing ebook versions of textbooks, and the library buys those when it can as a matter of equity, so to ensure that people have access at least to the ebook. Generally, they have a limited number of people who can be looking at the book at the same time. So if you're in a situation where you do need to rely on the ebook in the library, my very, very strong recommendation to you is don't wait till you're in class to try and look at it, because that's when everybody else will be trying to look at it as well. So I find that even for books where there are a large number of students in the topic, I can generally get access to them after hours. So try to plan your time to make sure that you access those well in advance of class, if that's your option for textbooks. Library, there's a library on each campus, the Sturt Library. The entrance is on the 3rd floor in the West Building, and for those of you who stay and go on a tour, we'll take you past and show you where that is. In terms of a physical library, a book collection, it's quite small, but there's lots of spaces where you can work, and Flinders has a huge electronic library. So a lot of the things that you use, resources that you access via the library, will be electronic resources rather than hard copy resources. Some of you would have driven to campus today. Is parking free still in our week? Yes. Okay, so parking on campus is free this week, but it's not next week. So if you do need to drive to campus, make sure, and I'll show you how shortly, that you have a valid way of paying for your parking, because they're pretty hot, particularly in the early weeks, on making sure that people are paying for parking. Partly because in early weeks the car parks are very crowded. So also if you're coming to campus by car in the early weeks, I strongly recommend that you plan to get here early in the day. Generally the car parks are full by 9:30, 10 o'clock for the first few weeks. You can go to the library and do some private study if you don't have a class that early. There are buses and trains to Flinders. Adelaide Metro is the best place to go to find out details of those. And there's a loop bus that connects those things. So there's 3 bus services, one that runs from the railway station up to the main campus, one that does a loop of the campus. So if it starts here for us, and it will take you to Flinders Medical Centre and then around to the main campus and then back to here. And then the third one is one that goes to Tonsley campus. And I'll show you the app for that. Okay, there's instructions there about how to download the app, which if you decide that you need it, I would recommend that you follow those. And that app shows you in real time where the bus is. There's about a 4 or 5 second lag, but you can find the buses pretty quickly. Okay, so I mentioned apps. So the Wollonga Charter app is the app for the bus. The other 2 apps that will be useful to you early on, Lost on Campus is an app. You can register for Flinders University or tell it that you want Flinders University, and you can put in room numbers and it will give you a link from where you are to the building that the room is in. It doesn't tell you whereabouts in the building it is, but people are really friendly here. And if you get to the right building and ask for help, people will direct you to the right room. The Wollonga Charter app to find the loop buses, and Solo Park, which is the app. So there's 2 ways of paying for parking. One is to buy a permit that covers you for a semester or a year. The other is to pay for casual parking on the app. So if you download that, you'll need to put in some payment details so that it knows where to find your money when it wants it. But it's pretty straightforward to use. Security are available 24 hours a day. There are some hotline telephones around campus. There's one in the entrance to the south building on the bridge on the 2nd floor, right near Health Sciences. If you go for the tour, you'll be able to see where that is. I recommend that you put the security number into your phone so that you have it if you need it, and you can email security. Security are useful for all kinds of things. If you ever need to call an emergency services vehicle, so for most of us, if we do that, it's likely to be an ambulance. You also need to call security and let them know they're coming, because security will meet them at the entrance and navigate them to the place that they need to be. Otherwise, even although the paramedics mostly train here, it will be hard for them to find some places on campus. Okay. You are entitled to be safe at university. We, and I have a colleague who's in the room who's very much involved in this, he'll speak to you in a minute, have a lot of things going on at camp at Flinders to try and ensure that this is a safe place for you, both physically and psychologically. However, we also rely very heavily on people being responsible bystanders. If you see something and it's unacceptable, if you feel that it's safe for you to speak up, that's great, but it may not be, and nobody expects you to put yourself at risk. But it is worth making reports. If we don't understand what's happening on campus, we can't think about what we can do to take steps to change what's happening. So it's really important that we know. Making a report doesn't initiate a complaint. It might lead to a complaint, but it's really so that we understand in the first instance what's happening to students on campus. Okay, I said we have one of the stars of the effort to keep us safe on campus here, and Roweda Saleem, my colleague, will talk to you about some of that now.
Hi everyone, so welcome to our week. I'm going to just maybe talk about Respect Now. So I co-chair a working group called Respect Now Always, which aims to raise awareness related to sexual assault and harassment, as well increase the visibility of the available services within Flinders. Also, you can see these posters here. So I'm going to talk about what we do as a working group. And you'll be able to find, if you go across the campus, that always you're going to see these two flyers. Now, apologies, they are a bit more masculine. I've got more male, female, that's it. They're not diverse, but this is something the college or the university working on to change. Now, what do these posters represent? These posters represent that if you find any case or you notice or witness any case of sexual assault, maybe bullying, any unacceptable behavior, to report it straight away. One of the ways to report it, you can see here we've got a barcode, so you can scan it. Also, we've got the security number, and if you have a look at the back of your university card, your university ID, as well, you're going to find the security number. So we encourage that everyone, whenever you're going to find any unacceptable behavior, just to report it. We want you to be as well safe, and you deserve to be safe and supported. As Jane mentioned, if you're going to report any case of something maybe happened to you or for someone you know that happened to them on campus, it's not going to initiate a formal complaint. It's more that someone will contact you from the counseling services to support you in terms of your well-being and mental health. In case you're going to take the road of complaint, then it's going to be something optional, no pressure at all, and then maybe the police will be involved. But the main reason for reporting is just for us to make sure that everyone is safe and to improve our facilities and make sure everything is perfect. Okay? Now, if you have a look at this slide, you'll be able to see that whether someone is a victim or a survivor for sexual assault, you can contact Flinders University Health Counseling and Disability. Whether an incident happened on campus or out of campus somewhere else, maybe happened to you maybe a few years ago and still having an impact, and you are a survivor, then as well they will be able to support you and help you. Also, there is National Sexual Assault, which is Family and Domestic Violence Counseling line. You'll be able to contact them, 1800 Respect. Also, one of the main important within South Australia, which plays and as well works with the Women's and Children Hospital, it is Yarrow Place. So Yarrow Place is the main leader in this space in South Australia, and they always support any victim or survivors for sexual assault and harassment. And they are the one that's going to deal with, let's say, collecting evidence and provide you support as well in terms of counseling, as well in case you want to take the, let's say, the process of maybe lodging a formal complaint and then let the police be involved. Another one, which is support for victims and survivors within sexual assault. Also, we've got the counseling and disability services at Flinders. Also, student equal opportunity advisor. You can email them or call them. And also the Office of Commissioner for Equal Opportunity. Now, it's very important, maybe at any incident you see someone being harassed, there is unacceptable behavior. If you want to think about to go and search for these flyers, it's going to be something very hard. One of the things, as I mentioned, you can find the security number on the back of your card. You can call them, let them know, and later on you can either go online to the student.flinders.edu.au/safety on campus and you lodge a complaint or report it online. Okay? So this is in terms, so safety is very important. Our priority that you're going to excel in your academic career, but also you deserve to feel safe and supported. Security are very important, even later on at night when you're going to leave, maybe you're feeling unsafe, you're going to see koala, maybe you've got phobia from koalas, because this is something you're going to see around. you don't know what to do, you're a bit scared, you're feeling unsafe, call the security, okay? So this is also, it's not only just being safe related to sexual assault and harassment. Anything that's make you feel unsafe, security will be number one to call them. Okay, and wish you all the best. One more thing, we'll be as well holding an event during week 5, which later on we're going to send heaps of announcements on floor. The aim of the event will be safety and respect at Sturt. We'll be inviting all the Flinders services, including counselling services, FUSA, international services, also Shina Say, the leader in sexual health in South Australia, will be invited and had a space. Okay, so just watch this space and all the best. Thank you.
So are there any questions for Rowena before she puts her microphone away? You'll meet Rowena in Human Bioscience in semester 1. There'll be plenty of chances to chat with her. Flinders has lots of scholarships, and they're not all academic scholarships. Okay, so you don't need to be a top performing student to apply. We have scholarships for all kinds of reasons, all kinds of eligibility criteria, and all kinds of purposes that you can use them for. So I recommend that in your spare time, you have a look at scholarships. You might qualify for something that's useful to you. Okay? We're running a bit behind. Okay. We have 4 weeks of orientation at Flinders. Okay? This week, where it's really just getting your feet on the ground, making sure that you're enrolled, knowing the key touch points that you need for week 1. But I can also recommend that you start to think about looking at the clubs and societies, for example. Maybe going down today after we finish and having a look at some of the activities that are down there. There might be some things that interest you. And I would also encourage you actually at the end of the session to go down with some of the people who are in the room and get to know, have a chat, get to know each other and look at things together. Connect Week is when we start to encourage you and support you to start building some of those relationships that will be useful for you at Flinders in more detail, and there's lots of activities going on to help you to do that. We'll also actually spend quite a bit of time in topics, trying to encourage you to get to know each other as well. Key dates for this semester. Teaching starts next week. If you have a tutorial early in the week, you probably need to do some work this week so that you're ready. You hit the tutorial early next week, ready to learn from the activities in that tutorial. I've talked about Connect Week. You have up to 5 weeks to be in a topic before you have to decide to stay. Okay? And we will contact you around week, not just us, you'll get lots of emails reminding you that census date is coming up, and are you confident that you want to stay in all of your topics, so you're happy where you are. You only have till the end of week 2 to enrol in a topic, so don't wait that long to decide that you're going to start a new topic. Week 5 is only if you want to withdraw from a topic. If you withdraw by census date, the topic disappears off your transcript and there's no HECS liability attached. So that's why that's an important date. Week 9, there's a second date where you can withdraw by, and you can withdraw without getting a fail grade for a topic by that date, but your HECS liability won't be cancelled. And then after week 9, you can still withdraw from topics, I believe up until week 12, but you will get a fail grade for the topic. So if you're thinking about withdrawing after week 9, talk to the TC. Okay? It may not be possible, but it may be possible to make some arrangements to help you to complete the topic. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Thanks, Jane. I'm
I
Jen.
should have done this a long time ago, and I apologise. This wonderful woman here is Jen Fish. Jen is our first year transition coordinator. Jen is the person who's been contacting you about coming to the session today. Jen is going to be a great. So this is the first time we've had this role in a while, and so this is going to be a great addition to what we do, because Jen is going to work with us as a teaching team to try and improve your experience as first years. Jen's not a person to contact if you've got problems, though. I'm the first person to contact if you've got problems or questions, and if Jen needs to be involved, I'll let you know. But there's other people that I might refer you to as well.
That said, I do love meeting with students and spending time with them. So I'm also happy to provide personalised support whenever I can. So hi, I'm Jen, and you should have received a couple of emails from me over the last couple of weeks inviting you, and I'm so happy to see you here today. It's so wonderful to see so many people here. But my job right now is to introduce you to the topic coordinators. So when I sent out that email to you, I asked you what you wanted to learn today, and there was this really clear message. You wanted to meet the staff and you wanted to learn about the topics. So you wanted to know what topics you would be taking this year, what the assessments would be, what the expectations are, what can you expect from our first year topics. So we've invited the first year topic coordinators here today so you can meet them and see that they're real people, and yes, we'd love to meet with you and support you. So please do reach out if you have any questions about your topic, or if you need support, or if you have any questions about census date and those types of things, then the topic coordinator is your key contact there. So we'll start with human bioscience and Ruwaida.
So I've got the questions written, so in this case I'm not going to miss anything. So I'm Ruwaida Slim, so I coordinate human bioscience. What does a human bioscience focus on? It is about introducing the basics related to human anatomy and physiology. So in this case, every week we'll be covering one of the body systems, except week 1 and week 2. Week 1 will be more about anatomy, about planes, about sections. However, week 2 will be more about chemistry for human bioscience, such as, in this case, I'm referring to physiology and homeostasis. Now, how many types of assessments you've got for this topic? You're going to have 3 assessment pieces. One of the assessment pieces will be about a lab report. Second will be an artifact as a group work project. And then you're going to have end of semester quiz. Now, also, one of the things we use in the labs, if you're doing it as on campus, in person, we use heaps of inquiry-based learning. We'll be using body painting and Play-Doh when we're going to cover the musculoskeletal system. Also, we're going to be doing heaps of dissections, such as for a lamb heart, kidneys, cow eyes. Also, we'll be doing heaps of hands-on activities, such as during week 12, you'll be able to determine your own blood group in case still you don't know whether you are A positive, B positive, or whatever. Now, in terms of participation, it's very essential that you're going to participate and attend your sessions, especially that in the final exam during week 15, you're going to have questions based on what you did during your session. So what research question you came up to investigate during the session? How exactly did you run, for example, an activity related to homolysis? So it's going to be more based on what you're going to do during the sessions, and that's why it's very important that you're going to attend and participate. Any tips to succeed in human bioscience? My first tip is that make sure you always watch the lectures before you're going to attend. If there is any requirements in terms of reading, you're going to complete. Any labeling for the diagrams in your workbook, you're going to complete them, and then you're going to attend. If it is online, you enrolled as online student, then follow what are the steps on flow as per each module. All I can say is that have fun and make the most of this exciting journey, because I promise you're going to enjoy this topic. It's very fun, heaps of information, but make sure you're going to spend around 8 hours at least every week so that you'll be able to pass this topic. And I wish you all the best. And if you've got any questions, always make sure, if it is personal, to email me. If it is more content-based, just post it to the discussion forum. And I'm here to help you and support you. And all the best.
Thanks so much, Rowena. We now have Morgan, who's going to talk with you about Health 1010 research and study skills.
Hello everyone, my name is Morgan, and about 11 years ago I was sitting exactly where you were and I was quite terrified. So hopefully you're not feeling as scared as I was, but that's perfectly normal if you are. I was a mature age student and the first in my family to go to university. So if that is true for you and you feel you need support, please feel that I'm a safe person. Similarly, my family are all, so my children, I've got one child that's transgender, all of my children are autistic or have ADHD or a combination of AUDHD. And so that is, I don't necessarily understand what your experience may be, but my experience caretaking for my family, I have been a safe place for them. So if this is again true for you and you feel you need someone safe or a friendly place to turn to, you can come and talk to me. So I also have these questions written down so that I can speak to you about the topic. I am going to be the topic coordinator for Research and Study Skills 1. So this is designed to set you up for a successful 3 or 4 years, depending on your study program. And what we want by the time you graduate is that you are all critical consumers of research, and that's what this topic enables you to do. So there are two key components in this first year topic. One is your study skills, and your assignment or deliverable related to that is a learning plan, where you will, in the first few weeks, you will design a learning plan to set you up for success throughout the semester, and then at the end of the semester you'll have a think about your career, and we work with the careers department here at Flinders to get you thinking about what your future career options might look like. And then the other aspect that we look at is research skills, and so we start in first year with some very fundamental skills, and your deliverables will be, you'll choose a subject. There's, I think, 5 different topics that we offer, or like, for example, cancer, obesity, and you'll pick one of those topics and you will do an infographic as part of group work and an essay as individual work on that topic. Just having a look at what else I'm missing here that you might be looking for me to talk to about. So that's the type of assessments. Participation requirements. So as Jane mentioned, our tutorials are done on a Monday, a Wednesday and a Friday. If you are enrolled in the Monday tutorial, you will need to access Flow this week and start going through that learning material before you attend the tutorial on Wednesday. The tutorials are very activity oriented, and so you need to have done the pre-work in order to get the most out of that. There are some tutorials that are compulsory because marking occurs within the tutorial, and so you need to be aware of what weeks they are, and that will be on Flow for you, and you need to attend your workshop on those weeks. In addition to that, expectations, have fun. I love teaching research methods. I teach it from undergraduate through to masters and honours. So I've got, experience looking at students who are very frightened or anxious about what seems a very heavy and dense topic. I'm very passionate about making that relatable for you and removing that fear. Because what you're going to learn this year, you'll build on next year and in the third year, so that by the time you graduate, you feel confident in entering your workplace with a strong knowledge of evidence-based practice. And that is essentially the foundation of what these 3 topics throughout your degree will set you up for, is to be well-rounded practitioners who feel confident implementing evidence-based practice. Any questions for me before I hand back the mic? No, I'm really looking forward to working with you all this semester. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Morgan. And I used to be a tutor in that topic, and it is fun. I know that doesn't sound like it, research and study skills, but the tutorials are great. So now I'll introduce Tracy Ann, who takes strength-based approaches to health, working with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples.
Can't go any further.
That was such a Tracy Ann Rankin move, just to clumsily get out of the chair. Okay. Now, Māori scholars, welcome. I'm the topic coordinator for strengths-based approaches to health, working with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. I'm a non-Aboriginal woman, and I'm a sixth-generation settler coloniser, which means I have a particular relationship with the land that we're on today, and that is of a non-Aboriginal perspective. We're meeting on Kaurna Yata, which is the lands of Kaurna people. And this has been, as Jane said, a place of learning and teaching and researching since time immemorial, which is as long as anyone can remember. And I pay respects to Kaurna elders and Kaurna ancestors, and I also pay my respects to ancestors and elders of Aboriginal and or Torres Strait Islander peoples who are in the room today. So I think I have the longest named topic, strengths-based approaches to health, working with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. In this topic, you will learn about what strengths-based approaches are. And they're something that we can apply in our work as a practitioner, but we can also apply to ourselves in our personal lives. And it's a really fabulous approach and understanding to take with you beyond university and into the rest of your lives. So we'll be exploring that quite explicitly in the first 4 weeks. And then we have an assignment that leads from strengths-based approaches and also some really key understandings about how language and terminology construct the worlds that we're in. So one thing I didn't say about myself is I'm a Flinders University graduate too. And one thing I love about being at uni and working with you on is ideas and information about ideas and theories and frameworks and ways of looking at things. And so we look at really big ideas, but we have useful lenses through which to look at them. And we look at things like, as I said, how language and terminology shape our understandings of things, how they shape the way we think about things, and how they shape the way that media and policy talks about those things. So we use that and strengths-based approaches to understand the worlds that we exist in. And the first assignment, we kind of apply those, but we still understand that they're in development too. And then the 4 weeks after that, we look at the context that we're in. And the context we're in is Australia, Australia's history, Australia's future, and Australia as it is now. And so we look at how the past and the present and the future all inform each other, which is a really big idea. We also look at how institutions, structures and systems shape the experiences of people who are either practitioners or clients within those structures, systems and institutions. These are more big ideas, I know that, but we will support you to find your way in that. And then we have my favourite assignment, which is a video reflection. And we invite you to use a cycle, a reflective cycle, to work through your relationship with big ideas. And you'll get supported to do that. The reason I love it is because I see lots of students, so you guys, doing some really fabulous thinking, some really big stepping up intellectual work and applying it to yourself. And it's very powerful for me as an educator to witness that happening, to bear witness to you doing that intellectual work and stepping up to that intellectual work. So I come out of, my office, or if I'm marking at home, and I'm like, I've just watched the most fabulous video reflection. It's a very joyous time in my life as an educator. Then the last 4 weeks in the topic, we look explicitly at cultural safety, because that's kind of what we're working towards in this topic, and we apply a cultural safety framework. Most, if not all of you, will be entering into spaces post-degree, wherever that might be, in which you'll have to have an understanding of what cultural safety is, what it isn't, and how you can work towards creating culturally safe spaces as a practitioner. So the last 4 weeks are really about that, and we have some fantastic colleagues in the topic who think about this a lot, and they are going to be able to support you to do that really important thinking. And then we have an essay at the end. Now, I love essays, right? I love writing. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but there is a workshop, an essay workshop that we have in week 11 that supports you to be able to do that. So the expectations are that you come to the tutorials as an on-campus student, you participate, you hold space for people in the topic along with you. I know that's kind of referencing Wicked. Holding space. But you also are responsible and accountable as citizens in a learning space. Big ideas. But these ideas are why we're here. That's why we're at uni. And so when you come into those spaces, being a listener is just as important as being somebody who participates through conversation and talking. So really active roles. We want you to embody those as part of your learning. Anything else? Sounds good? Any questions? I get a bit excited, so I'm sorry, everybody. I get a bit carried away. Thanks, Jen and Jane.
Thank you so much, Tracy Ann. It's a hard act to follow. I'm next. I'm Jen. I'm the topic coordinator for interpersonal and interprofessional communication. So essentially we aim to develop your foundational communication skills across the semester in this topic. So how do we do that? To start with, we ask you to explore who you are. We explore your personality, your life experiences, because through increasing your self-awareness, you can then improve your communication skills. We'll also teach you about reflective practice, and that's a really big part of the topic. You'll do reflective practice every week, and there's also a reflective practice assessment in the topic. But we do spend a lot of time practicing our communication skills. So a big part of that is we practice listening, and you might think that sounds like a really easy skill. I already know how to listen, but most of us could actually listen more and listen better. So we spend a lot of time practicing listening. We also spend time practicing how to craft excellent questions to allow other people to elaborate. We practice how to validate people's emotions and how to express empathy. We practice working in teams, and we also practice, and students are terrified of this, our oral presentation skills. So there is a group oral presentation in the topic. Now, I have seen so many students at the beginning of the semester terrified, thinking they cannot stand up in front of other people and talk, and then they get to the end of the semester, we've been supporting them, they give it a go, and they're so proud of themselves afterwards. It's a really fantastic learning opportunity, and you do that in a group, so you get to make friends along the way. So there's a personal reflection, there's an oral presentation, and then at the end there's a demonstration of your communication skills. And so that's why we practice our skills throughout the semester, so you're really well supported to then demonstrate your active listening skills and your verbal communication skills at the end. So in this topic, it's a requirement that you come along to tutorials, and tutorials start next week in week 1. So if you've got a class on Monday, come along. Even if you haven't had time to prepare, let's say you haven't looked at the topic, you haven't done the readings, please still come along, you'll be fine. The aim of week 1 is to develop relationships and to set class values and norms and to give you some information about assessments. So please do prepare if you have time, but if you don't have time, please come along. If you can't come along, please let your tutor know. We have a fantastic teaching team. They're really experienced with teaching, but also communication skills, and they're really devoted to supporting your learning. So if you have questions throughout the topic, please reach out to them or me as topic coordinator. I'm also a tutor, so I might be your tutor as well on the topic, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you. We have a lot of fun in the topic. We do role plays, and I hear from students it's like going along and playing games, that you're developing really important skills and you're making friends, which helps you to transition into university as well. Okay, so now we have Jane, who takes Understanding Health, Illness and Health and Social Care in Australia.
Which is only slightly shorter than Strengths-Based Approaches to Health. Okay, hello again. So one of my other hats that I wear is as Topic Coordinator for HLTH 1306. I should have said it earlier, but one of the things that is characteristic of our degree is that in addition to learning about health inside the body, and you'll start that very early on, Roweda's topic, is we spend a lot of time thinking about health from the perspective of outside of the body. And Tracy Ann's topic is really key in that, and communication is really key in that. You can't find out what's going on in the body without talking to people for a start, but it's important for a lot of reasons. HLTH 1306 is in the same vein, in that the topic is very much thinking about broad, big influences on health. So the topic's in 3 parts. The first 5 weeks we talk about determinants of health, and particularly what we call social determinants of health, which are defined as the conditions in which people are born, grow, live, work and age. So these are the things outside of our bodies that affect our health, and they're not our behaviours. They're the things that might affect our behaviours, but they might also affect our health directly, irrespective of anything that we do. And they're more important generally for our health than the things that we do ourselves. So they're important to understand generally, to have a good grasp on health. But as future health practitioners, they're vital to know, because understanding the broader context of influences on the health of the people that you work with will be crucial to you providing the best possible care. And we'll assess your learning about that in an essay, and this year the essay you'll be able to write about stroke or osteoporosis. In the next 5 weeks of the topic, we'll shift gear a little bit and we'll start to look at the healthcare system. So you'll get a bit of a crash course in the Australian healthcare system. So who are the kinds of people who work in the system? What are the kinds of organisations that provide care? What are some of the challenges in providing care at a standard that is expected in our community? And what are some of the ways in which governments, through policy, try to respond to some of those challenges? And we'll link that very closely to what does that mean for people using services, and also what does it mean for health professionals working in those services. So again, very close to the kinds of skills and understanding that will be useful to you in providing the best possible care to people that you work with in the future. And we'll assess that by looking at a case study. So you'll have a choice of probably 3 people. You'll see their story about their journey through the healthcare system, and then have an opportunity to demonstrate that you understand some of the things that might have influenced their health outcomes using the content from the topic. And the third 2 weeks of the topic, again, another change in gear where we encourage you to start thinking about what it means to develop the specific knowledge and skills that you'll have as health professionals, and you're starting now to develop a dual identity of both a user of health services, and most of you would have had some experience using health services in the past, while simultaneously being a provider of health services. So having particular knowledge and skills that most people who use health services don't have. And that creates some tensions. You know, it's not always easy to bite my tongue when I think my GP is wrong, because I know a bit about this stuff. So there's some tensions that we'll explore there. The final piece of assessment will be a short video reflection. If you've looked at the flow site already, you'll know that in week 3 we're asking you to submit a little postcard assignment that where you tell us who you think is more responsible for the health of Australians. Is it individuals or the government? And some reasons why. And when you get to week 13, we're going to ask you to look back on that statement and see if you still think the same thing, and what it is in the topic that has either reinforced your belief or perhaps modified your belief about who or what is more responsible for the health of Australians. There are weekly tutorials for those of you who are studying on campus. Attendance at tutorials is not compulsory, but it's highly recommended. That's where you get to talk about the ideas and to play with the ideas and really make sure that you've got your head around them so that when you go to do the assessments, you're on top of what you need to demonstrate that you've learned in the topic. And I think it's fun.
That seems to be a running theme for all of us, that we think our classes are fun. And now we have the other Jane to talk about health promotion for health professionals.
Thanks, Jen. Hi, everybody. As you know, I'm Jane. I will be talking to you about health promotion for health professionals. We have a team of tutors involved in the topic, so you may get me if you're on a Wednesday afternoon. Otherwise, we've got 2 other really skilled and experienced tutors who are part of the team as well for your workshops that are on campus each week. We do have lectures online, so you can watch them whenever you want, wherever you want, but we do recommend that you take a look at the module, which we have one each week, well before you attend. And as Jane highlighted before, the trick of checking out the readings, especially the textbook outside of hours, does benefit you rather than trying to pick it up in the tutorial time. I know my students get caught out on that one too, Jane, and are trying to figure things out. So that's, a good tip for all of you that are here. So health promotion for health professionals, we're starting at a foundation. It's a foundation topic, and we're building your knowledge and increasing your skills throughout the semester, with each week sort of building up about different parts of health promotion, different ways, different settings with health promotion. Each week that we're doing our tutorials and workshops, we'll be exploring things, practicing things, having a chance to talk and ask questions of each other, and for you to be able to ask them of your tutor as well. Tutorials aren't compulsory, but they are highly recommended to attend as well, so that you get that chance to ask questions, you get that chance to practice what you're going to be doing for the assignment, you get a chance to talk to somebody else who's doing the same work, same learning, same thinking around things that you are as well. So talking about assignments, we've got 4 assignments over the course of the semester. We've got a little cluster of quizzes that are sort of tied into the weekly modules that you do and are sort of signposted throughout the semester about when you can access those and when you need to complete them by. And your tutors will be reminding you as well, so that you're not having to do it on the bus at 3 o'clock on the way home when it's due at 4 o'clock. So we're trying to support you with sort of different ways with that. We've got 3 written assignments that are completed all individually. So we have an infographic that's due. We have a health topic that you pick at the beginning of your assignments, and then we follow that through the semester. So you're building all your knowledge and your information around a certain area and being able to use that and further develop it with each sort of part of the assignment. So we've got that infographic to start with in the semester. Then we have a concept map, or a logic model as it's also called as well, and then we finish up the semester with a recommendations report about your broader health promotion topic that you're doing. Now, you might think that health promotion is just for health promotion officers or health promotion practitioners or professionals, which is the field that I practiced in before I came to academia. But you will find that so many health professions involve health promotion in part of their work and part of their practice and part of what they do at the smaller community level all the way up to sort of the higher national level as well. So who knows where you'll end up, but that there will be that sort of stream through a lot of different professions as well. Now, just thinking if there's anything else to sort of cover the assignments, I think that's sort of about all the bits and pieces. As I said, attendance at tutorials is not mandatory, but highly encouraged, because it's that spot that you get to talk to people, get to ask questions, get to practice literally some of the stuff that you're going to then do in your assignment as well. Any questions, things on the last one before we head to the next task, Jen? Nope. Off we go to the next bit.
Thank you so much to all the TCs who've come along to meet you today. We've asked them to stay so that they can meet you in we're going to do a little social activity a little bit later, and you'll get to meet them one-on-one. So this next part of the presentation, and we are running a little bit behind, so I might speed things along because we have another special guest coming in 10 minutes to talk with you. I've already been introduced to you, so my name is Jen Fish and my pronouns are she, her. I've been working in health sciences for the last couple of years, but I've been at Flinders for 20 years on and off, so I did my undergraduate study here up the hill on main campus. Did my undergraduate degree, honours, went off and worked for a little while, came back and did my PhD, went off, and now I'm back again. I can't seem to leave Flinders. I love it. So I do have quite a bit of knowledge about Flinders, and I'm more than happy to support you to transition into university. I work closely with the staff, the teaching staff and other staff to make sure that you're supported to successfully start university and succeed both academically and socially here, and I am happy to provide personalised support if needed. There is an email on the slide there, but also you would have received those emails from me last week or maybe yesterday, so you can always just click on reply. I won't spend too much time on this slide, but I just wanted to highlight that the literature tells us that your transition to university really matters. The first year really matters for your success as a student, and the literature tells us that there are some barriers and challenges that you might face. Not guaranteed. This is so for some students, but some students come in and they perceive that there's a difference in the assessment standards between school and then university, so they're a little bit surprised that the standard is higher at university. Not always the case, but for some students that can be a surprise. Some students are also juggling external commitments with their university studies, and that can be a real challenge for them in first year. And also sometimes there's some unrealistic expectations about how much time you need to devote to your studies. So most students, I find, through talking to them, are surprised at how long it takes to work through the learning content, applying their learning, doing the assessments. So that can be a real challenge. And sometimes finding the motivation to study can be a real challenge. I met with a student at the end of last year, and they'd come from school into university, and at school they had a lot of external motivation. They had people reminding them to do the work and to submit assignments, and then once they'd come to university, no one was telling them to do the work and to submit their assignments. They weren't submitting their assignments, and they didn't have that support from home. So that can be a real barrier, and something to keep in mind as you get started, that it can be challenging, and that's normal. It can also be more challenging if you're isolated as well at university, so it's incredibly important to make friends and connect with others. So you're doing that already today, which is wonderful. I want to kind of skip over that last slide and really focus on these next few slides, which are about what you can do to have that fantastic first year experience at university. So the first thing you can do is be really kind to yourself when you start university, because you're navigating a new system with different administration processes, different terminology for things. There's so many acronyms. I remember when I came back to university, I had no idea what people were talking about here with their acronyms. So try to be kind to yourself, that it's okay to be confused when you start university, and we're all here to help. Your fellow students are here to help, but also teaching staff are here to help and answer any questions. It's also quite normal to feel anxious when you start university. You might not be, but many do feel anxious and have some concerns when they start university. That's quite normal. I just wanted to reassure you that if you are feeling nervous about starting university, that doesn't mean you're not coping, and it doesn't mean you don't belong here. You still belong here, even if you feel nervous. When I started university, I was so nervous and anxious about starting, but I made friends and I connected with teachers, and that helped me to build my self-confidence at university, and I felt like I belong here, and that's why I'm still here 20 years later. So I started off feeling very nervous starting university. I'm a first in family. I was a first in family student, so I didn't have the support of my family. They had no idea what university was like. I had no idea what it was like, and I came along anyway, and I'm still here. So you belong here. We all do. We all come from different backgrounds, and we value diversity here at the university. Another thing you can do to develop your confidence and capability is to try to seek to understand the topic expectations, and that's something that you talked about in the survey that you wanted to know more about what are the expectations. So today we've given you a really brief, quick overview of the topics and some of the expectations. The rest of the information is communicated to you, hopefully really clearly on Flow. So your topic coordinators will let you know what the attendance requirements are, what the communication requirements are, what the values are in the topic, and so on. Also try to seek to understand the assessment standards. So these might be different from your previous learning environments. And I find one of the best ways to understand the assessment requirements is to come along to classes. Usually they're explained by your tutor, but also the marking rubric. That'll tell you what we're looking for in the assignment, so prepare your assignments while looking at the marking rubric. Other people might have other tips there, but I can see that Mel is in the room, so I'm going quickly now. In terms of the last point, actively participate, you're already doing that by coming along today. Coming to campus is really important. Coming along to events, maybe getting involved, being a student rep. I was on the student council when I was in my undergraduate degree, and that really helped me to make friends to be on the council, but also seek feedback from us if you need it to support your learning as you're moving through the topics. So we know that making friends is really important for your studies. It makes your experience more enjoyable. There's also people to go to for support, and so that you can ask questions and navigate university successfully. So today we're going to do a little icebreaker activity after Mel speaks. That's a good opportunity to meet some people. Some other things you can do if you go along to a class is turn to the person next to you and introduce yourself. But also, I'm probably speaking for all of us in tutorials, we set up activities, icebreakers, we make sure that you're connecting with others, we do pair and share and group activities to make sure you're making those connections. But also it's really important to develop personal connections with staff, and now you've been introduced to a number of first year TCs who might also be your tutor, so please come and talk to us. We're very happy to talk with you and to guide and support you through your first year. In terms of developing a sense of purpose, that could be really important. We work really hard in the topics to explain the relevance of what you're learning, and we provide lots of examples. But it's really important for you to do that work yourself and to think about why this content is relevant, and to think about how it's relevant to your personal life, your professional life, and maybe societal issues that we're facing as well. You might also spend some time reflecting on your long-term goals and where you're here at university. Developing that sense of purpose can be a great way to build motivation, which I'll go on to the next slide. It can be really tricky to balance university with your personal life. And managing your time and finding motivation is a key part of that. So one of the things you said in the survey is that you wanted kind of some tips and tricks about study and what we wish, when we reflect, what we wish we'd known when we started studying. Now, when I was a first year student, I was not the ideal student. I was writing essays the day before they were due. I know, Tracy Ann's shaking her head at me. I was up all night writing my essays, and not what I'm like now. But I didn't have motivation. It wasn't until I was in my PhD that someone explained to me that the motivation fairy doesn't exist. And research tells us that for some people, motivation just isn't there, and actually action needs to come first. So don't wait for the motivation fairy when it comes to your studies. Sometimes you need to take action first, and then the motivation builds, and that leads to more action. So I never wait for the motivation fairy anymore, because they don't visit me. But I just know if I set myself goals, I put it in my diary, I just sit down and I just do it. Now, one of my favourite time management or motivation tools is the Pomodoro method, where I just ask myself to sit down for 20 minutes and work on a task. And then I can take a break after that. And I can seem to convince myself to sit down for 20 minutes, not for a whole day to write on an essay, but 20 minutes I can do. So try and break up your time like that, potentially. Work for 20 minutes, then give yourself a break. Now, to do that, it can be helpful to think about the larger task and break it up into smaller parts, so that then you can work on those smaller parts for 20 minutes. And make sure you reward yourself. So think about what you enjoy what you could do for yourself after you've worked, and then do it. You know, for me, and this is going to sound really boring, it's that I really love to have a cup of tea. So I'll work for 20 minutes and then I'll take a break and I'll have a cup of tea. And that to me is really rewarding. Now, yours is probably not so boring, but think about something that's rewarding. Reward yourself for studying. Make sure you build it in to your week. Probably you're working. Many of you will be working. I could say to you, don't work too much, but that might not be realistic for you. Try to build in, study wherever you can, schedule it in. If you've got kids, schedule it in when they're napping, those types of things. If you're working on weekends, make sure you're scheduling it in the week, ideally before your tutorials for that week, so that you are prepared. It's probably a good idea to hand over to Mel at this point. So we've introduced you to the teaching staff, but there are also other staff at the university who can help to support you, and Mel is one of our fantastic student wellbeing and success advisors. Did I get that right? Yeah. So there was a few more points on the slides, but I'll let you read through those in your own time. And Mel's going to talk to you today about her role in the university and the support services that we have here as well. Thank you so much for coming.
Hi everyone, welcome to Flinders. Before I forget, everything that Jane and Jen and everybody else is mentioning today and all the support services that you see around are listed in this support directory. So if you've been down to the Welcome Hub in the courtyard and seen this, you can grab an actual paper copy of it, and it has a QR code to every support service at the uni in it. So you don't need to necessarily remember what everything does. You can take this home, put it on a shelf. Later on you can come back to it if you need anything. So I would just recommend that. That's new for us this year, so we're a little bit excited about it. So my role at the uni is kind of what this boring slide says, but what I really want to talk about is, I guess, adjusting to uni and how I can maybe support you to do that. I'm a link. So I'm a link to your teachers, I'm a link to other services, I'm a link to getting information. And so we know that obviously you're doing other things, you're not just studying at uni. We know that maybe you're working, maybe you're looking after family, maybe you've come from a long way to be with us, maybe you have moved out of home for the first time, and so you're managing a lot and there's a lot going on in your heads right now and a lot of information that we're throwing at you. And at some point during the semester or the year or the next 3 years or the next 5 years, if you go on to do postgrad or however long, life might get a little bit wobbly and uni might become your lowest priority. And we know that that might happen for some of you, and in fact it might well happen for all of you. When that happens, talk to your teachers, talk to your topic coordinators, your course coordinators, but you can also come and talk to me. And what we will do is we'll sit down, we'll have a chat, I'll understand what's going on for you, and then I'll recommend maybe some actions and some priorities. And most of those will be linked to Flinders. So for example, maybe you've moved out of home for the first time and you start feeling really homesick. Maybe you get a call from a parent back home and they say that your dog was hit by a car the other day, and you think that that's not going to impact you, but you start kind of maybe not coping with that information, maybe wishing you were back there to check on the dog, starting to miss your family, starting to miss mum's cooking, things like that. It might start to impact you. So we would have a chat and I would be like, okay, well, what can we do to support you? Is there anything that you're not doing now that you can do to reconnect with family? Maybe you're feeling homesick because you haven't made any friends here, so let's get you up to Oasis. Let's get you meeting some people, going to some activities. Maybe you're also not being able to find a part-time job and money's short, so we'll go to the financial counsellor at the Students' Association and we'll have a chat to them. Maybe you're also managing an illness or a disability, so we'll make sure you've got an access plan. So that's kind of the things that I do, and I don't do it for you. I'll help you prioritise and help you take some actions. And I might kind of do some sort of warm introductions for you, but generally I want you to make decisions about what happens with you. But yeah, you're very welcome to come and talk to me at any time. I work from the Sturt campus on Tuesdays. I'm up on main campus other days. I'm over at FMC in the hospital on Thursdays, so I'm all over the place. But you can connect with me by phone, Teams, or in person. You can come and see me once and that might be all you need, or you can come and see me 3 or 4 times and that's perfectly fine too. Some other times when you might hear from me is if these lovely people in the room who are teaching you are worried. So if you've been coming to classes and getting really involved and participating and talking and submitting everything, and then suddenly that stops, they're going to go, oh, something's happened. What's wrong? And they might ask me to contact you and just check in. If things go really wobbly towards the end of semester and you start to fail some things, which might happen for some of you, and that's okay, they might also ask me to kind of contact you and say, look, are you okay? Do you need some support? Has something happened? So don't be worried if I do reach out and you haven't invited me to. It's because these lovely people are worried about you. I'm not tracking you, I promise. I think that's it for that one. I'm also talking about...
There's a whole host.
There's a whole host. Okay. So I don't work for any of these services, but I know a little bit about them. So if you go to the service and what I told you is wrong, it's not my fault. So SLSS is a student learning support service. So they run the Learning Lounge. So there's a Learning Lounge in the Sturt Library here in level over that way. Level 2, thank you. And there's also a Learning Lounge in the Central Library up on main campus. You can drop in there. It's a drop-in service. You don't need to book an appointment. You can pop in and ask for some support around your writing style, how to paraphrase. If you don't understand an assessment question, you can take it into them and say, look, I don't understand what I'm meant to be doing here. And they'll sit with you for 10 or 15 minutes, talk you through, and you can keep working in there in that location, and the learning advisors will come around and check on you. And you can go and see them as many times as you like. If you are at home and it's late at night and you're like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing, then you can log on to Flow and click on Studiosity in Flow, and that will take you to what's called Live Connect, where you can get a 20-minute session with a learning advisor. So it's exactly the same, you're just doing it through your computer. So you can have a 20-minute session where you can ask them for advice, you can ask them for information, for support. Say, look, I'm trying to write this and I want to sound smarter, I don't understand, I need some help with referencing, things like that. So I would encourage you to engage with them, not just when you start to think things are going wrong, but maybe early on. Maybe you get an assessment back and you actually passed it, but you're like, how can I do this better? How can I improve? They're all PhD students, I think, up there. So they've done the undergrad, they're doing postgrad study, they know their stuff. Better You. So this is new this year. The uni has pulled together all of our wellbeing activities and information and support services under one umbrella of Better You. And so if you go to that website, flinders.edu.au/betteryou, you'll see there's a whole lot of stuff. There's blog posts, there's activities. I think there's some downloadable resources, things like that. So it'll grow throughout the year, but I would encourage you to go and have a look. You can also subscribe to Gareth's blog, he's our e-mental health officer, and he writes really interesting blog posts about being a student at uni, resources you might need, stuff that you need to know. And the best thing about his post is at the top it says how many minutes it takes to read each entry. So if you've only got 2 minutes, just go in and pick the 2-minute read. He's got some great stuff in there. Health, counselling and disability services. So we have a health service on campus, up on main campus next to the sports centre. It's fully bulk billed, so you don't need to pay anything over and above your Medicare rebate, and if there are any international students in the room, you don't need to pay anything over and above your overseas student health care. They also have SA pathology there, so if for whatever reason you need to have a blood test or things like that, you can go there, and they also run immunisation clinics out of there for the nursing students and the medical students. We also have a counselling service, so we have a team of amazing counsellors who provide a free and confidential counselling service to you. So if you are in distress, if you are having any sorts of challenges around university or around your personal life, then you can connect with the counsellors. You can email counselling@Flinders, or you can call the number there, 8201 2118, and you'll get in touch with a duty counsellor, and they'll have a chat with you, and then they might refer you somewhere else, or they might book you in with one of our counsellors. I think you can have up to 5 or 6 sessions. But they're fantastic to speak to. And as I said, it's free and confidential. If you've got any sorts of disability or medical condition or mental health condition or a learning difficulty, or you're the carer of someone with any of those conditions, then you can get a disability access plan. You don't need to have it can be a long-term or a short-term condition. So if you have, say, some back pain from a car accident and it resolves after 8 weeks, during that 8 weeks you can get an access plan. Has anyone heard the term access plan before, or maybe some of you had something like that in high school? Yeah. So effectively what it does is it provides you with some additional supports around your studies. Usually, and most often, students will get extra time for assignments and potentially extra time in exams. Depending on your needs, you might also sit exams in a separate room, or you might take some sort of assessments differently. So if it's a group assessment but you can't be in a group setting, you might do those assessments individually. And the best thing about it is that you don't actually have to tell all of your topic coordinators why you have it. You just turn up to class, you give them your access plan. This is what they say I can have. The topic coordinator says, okay, no worries, and they put it in their computer and they sort it all out for you, and you don't have to tell your story about why you have the access plan, and you don't have to tell it multiple times. So you just tell it to the disability service, and then you don't have to share it with anyone else if you don't want to. Oasis. Who's heard of Oasis? No one yet? So a few. Up on main campus we have a lovely wellbeing centre. I won't tell you how to get there because you'll forget. But Magnolia and Jamie run it, and they have a host of activities that go out of Oasis. Free tea and coffee. We have prayer rooms, there's musical instruments, puzzles, you can drop in any time. We have a chaplain service work out of there, so if you want some spiritual support you can go and see Dave or any of the other chaplains. And then they run a whole heap of activities, so they have midday meditation, forest walks, winter warmers, so in terms 2 and 3 there's free soup I think on Wednesdays. They're looking for wellbeing ambassadors at the moment, so if anyone's interested you can email oasis@flinders.edu.au. And the thing I'll highlight the most is the Flinders Community Market. So every Thursday during teaching time, between 11 and I think it's 2, we have a community market in Oasis where you can get free fruit and vegetables and bread and low-cost grocery items. So all you need is your student ID card and your shopping bags. So if you are supporting yourself, if you're living out of home, I would encourage you to take advantage of that. But they would love to see you. Did I say there's also a counsellor base there? So if you go through the counselling service, you may end up at Oasis to see a counsellor. Any international students in the room? A couple. So International Student Services is a bit of a catch-all for international students. So if you've got any questions really about anything to do with being here at Flinders, you can pop into ISS and speak to an advisor. They'll do kind of similar things to what my role does, but also similar to maybe what a bunch of other services will do, but they're specifically for international students. If you are an international student, you would have got... no, it's not there. You would have got an email about their welcome event on Friday. So if you haven't yet registered, I think they're still taking registrations. If you're a domestic student, I was told you can wander around and see what's on, but they won't give you any food. So if you guys want to go, you can, but you won't get the food. I just wouldn't go. Junkarinthi is our centre that supports Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. So if you identify as Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander, I would recommend that you engage with the team there. There is tutoring support, there is a hangout space, free tea and coffee again, advocacy, study spaces for you. Don't be a stranger, they would love to see you up there. Pride Network. I think... Can you speak to that one? Thank you.
This is just to highlight that the Pride Network is available not only for people who identify as gender or sexuality diverse, but also their allies as well, so everyone can get involved and become a member. Tracy Ann, do you have anything that you want to say about that network?
That you can view it.
You just need to be curious about potentially being an ally or finding out what it means to be part of the Pride network. So that's probably something for all of us to know about any of the networks here at university. Being curious is the beginning. Yeah.
So there's the QR code on that slide for you to scan later.
This one I can talk about. So we have a career readiness team on campus. So I'm sure most of you are going, what? I'm not even thinking about the job I'm going to do at the end of this, or if I'm even going to want a job, or if I'm even going to like this degree. But I would encourage you to start to think about it in first year if you can. The career team are running a bunch of careers fairs. They have, if you go through your Okta dashboard, you will see a tab called Career Hub, and there are a whole lot of online resources. If you click through to course-specific resources, go to Nursing Health Sciences and then Health Sciences, there's a bunch of stuff relevant to your degree. So what types of jobs you might be able to get, what types of job names you should be looking for, and industries and employers that are hiring people with your qualifications. It doesn't hurt to start looking now. They also have graduate opportunities as you get towards the end of your degree. They offer one-on-ones. They offer chances to get your resume checked, to get a LinkedIn photo taken, things like that. They're a great team to engage with. In my undergrad, I ignored them until third year, and I kind of wish that I'd got in touch with them sooner. So yeah, I would really encourage you to connect with them. And I think that's it.
Thank you so much. That was brilliant. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah. I'll turn it off. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, let me sort it out. You keep moving.
Right, okay. Are you happy to do this now? So I would really love to facilitate you getting to know each other. That was one thing that came through the surveys, that you want to meet fellow students as well as staff. So that's why I've asked staff to stick around and get to know students. So this is a fun activity. Usually though, whenever I ask students to engage in an icebreaker, there's a groaning for 30 seconds to a minute because nobody wants to do it, but then once they're up and talking, they feel fine. So I encourage you to push through that uncomfortable first minute of this activity so that you can make those connections with people. So it is people bingo, and I'll give you all a piece of paper that has some characteristics on there, and what I'd like you to do is to walk around and see if you can find some people that fit those characteristics and write their name down. We probably only have about 5 to 10 minutes for this, so maybe if you manage to get a diagonal line or a horizontal or vertical line, 5, yell out bingo if you like. There's no prize, so really the prize is that you get to make friends and that you get to meet staff here in the room, but it's something a little bit fun to do. You can come down here and mingle or stay up there if you like. Make sure you do talk to people you don't know though, and make those important connections. I'm not going to give staff the pieces of paper because I wasn't expecting this many people, and so I haven't got that many printouts, but please do approach staff and pop their names down on the activity.
I'll take some.
Thank you. I know some of you probably don't have pens, so I've got some pens here if you need them. Do come and get a pen if you need one.
I think that's 4. Okay. Oh, you're missing the highlight of the session.
So Jane, Tori and Rowena are coming around to hand out the bingo sheets. And then please start approaching each other and see if you can find someone who meets the characteristic. And I know that there's someone in the room who lives in University Hall if you're looking for somebody.
Can I get you to pass one, actually 2 on to the gentleman behind you? Sorry, I'm just going to slide past you. There you go. Oh, well done. Oh, there's enough for staff. Is it? So, what are you looking for? Okay.
They will not hide in my watch. 3 girls like crouched around a table at the exit. I was like, no, you're not going to get 5 things. There's going to be 3 of you.
Just to finish that. We have to cull the slide deck. We're using 30 slides and there's 55 in the slide deck. Yeah. We keep putting things that we're not using anymore at the end.
Just in case somebody asks about it though, right?
Well done, you.
Oh, I'm glad. I do it in all my tutorials, and they hate. And then
I do it.
Like,
we do it in Medicare 6 as well. We better make sure we've got different
I know.
bingo cards.
It's probably because I got from this tutorial. It's probably the same one.
So we use the slightly different one. Although I did change, I swapped out the block that said owns a Celine Dion CD because they all kept coming to me. I've never owned a Celine Dion CD.
One of the students just now was saying the date on the website for the city version of this said it was today. So we said a lot of students turned up at City today looking for the session that's tomorrow.
Oh no!
Yeah.
And that's on Flow.
Right.
It was.
So the young student there with the hat and the stripe, he said
They're already there right now.
He said he came late because he turned up in the city. That's what the date on the website said was today. And so he came to this session late because he
that before this.
Oh no. We'll have to double check. I thought I did double check this. Jane copied the information on. Pardon?
We're taking up the activity.
Yeah, I hope
They can just be really like...
I think Jane wanted to talk about student, or I don't know whether she wants to go back to student works because we skipped it, but then it's right now it's kind of tour of campus, and I think she's organising related to take. There's too many students.
Do we have a list of hits that we need for the campus tour? 'Cause I didn't get
Not that I'm aware of.
We'll just play it by ear.
Jane might.
She's like, I know where the stuff is. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know what the list is. So I couldn't
Oh,
really
yeah,
list
I
stuff.
would be joining it as a student. Like, where do I go?
Student services, food,
Yeah.
library,
Yeah.
the whole campus idea.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Oh, easy.
The rest of it, they can find their own rooms because they have so many different topics
Yeah.
they'll be taking. Oh, and telling them that if they do have topics on main campus, that they can't have them back to back.
Yes. The dash. Only have 10. Look at your schedule.
Don't do it. Always get that.
Okay, everyone, that brings us very close to the end of the session. You can keep playing bingo as you take a tour of the university. So we have two lovely staff members who are going to take you on a tour. We have Tori and Rowena. So if you can form two equal-sized groups, and one group will go with Tori and one group will go with Rowena, and you can keep playing bingo while you're walking around, and they're going to show you the campus. So thank you so much for coming along today. It's such a pleasure to meet you, and we look forward to getting to know you across the semester. So enjoy your tour so that you know where to go. Thanks, everybody.
Is that all right with you? Yep, she's here.
Right, so
Okay.
are you happy for... I'll just come in then at the first year topic
Yeah.
coordinators again?
Yeah,
After
is that
that.
right?
Yeah, that's fine. I won't stand next to you this time then. I
I'm
felt like I
sorry,
didn't want to shadow you.
No, I'm sorry, because I usually do that. And I was just, wait, I was thinking, I stopped when I see the first year.
No, it'll be fine. I thought it was fine. I just wanted to be there in case you needed me to change slides and whatnot. So
Oh.
you're all good, so...
I've done this before.
Yeah, clearly.
Hello, I think everybody's here now, so we might get started. Can you hear me in the back row? Great, thank you. Welcome. It's lovely to see so many of you here today. This is like one of the most exciting parts of the semester for us, meeting new students. The only thing that's more exciting is seeing you all graduate.
My name's Jane Harford and I'm the course coordinator for the Health Sciences part of your program, and today you'll meet some of the other members of the academic and professional staff teams who you'll come across potentially during your first year of study. Before I start the session, I'd like to acknowledge that I have the privilege of living and working on the unceded lands of the Kaurna people. We're in an institution whose two main pieces of business are research and education. And for all of the time of human habitation, these have been lands of science and learning, without which Kaurna people would not have survived and thrived on this country for thousands of years. I'd like to pay my respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander elders and to any Aboriginal people who are in the room. Just a bit of housekeeping. If the fire alarm goes off, which it occasionally does, we will manage evacuation from the room. But if you do find that you get lost, we just exit out through those glass doors and walk down to the Oval, and we'll bring you back when we get the all clear. And there are toilets just down the corridor that you've come in from. If you walk down past the little kitchenette, they're on the right. If you get to the exit with the glass doors down the corridor, you've gone too far. So we've got a quick program of introductions for you in this session. It's being recorded and we'll put the PowerPoint slides up into the learning management system for you so that you can go back and refer to them. You'll have an hour with us and then we'll deliver you to the teams who run the Masters part of your program so that you can talk to them more about studying and working in your future profession. The first person I'd like to introduce to you is Louisa, who is our academic lead. So Louisa leads our team, and you may come across her in teaching.
Thanks, Jane. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're very, very excited to see all of you today. We had an earlier session with our Bachelor of Health Science students who are doing specialities in that. I'd like to welcome all of you who are doing the double degree associations in either OT or physiotherapy. So it's probably been a long journey for you to get here. I know you've had to work really hard in Year 12 to get the ATAR to come into this, so congratulations. I'm feeling a little bit nervous for you. I was saying to the other group when I came here, I was thinking, earlier today, I was thinking about my first day at university in orientation. And I was doing biological sciences and I was on the top of the hill. There's an anchor court there, and sitting there with all these other people absolutely clueless about why I was there, what I was doing, didn't know anybody, feeling quite nervous but also really excited. And Health Sciences is the second largest course in our college. We have lots and lots of students. We offer a diverse range of courses. So there's a Bachelor of Health Sciences with specialities in therapy studies, physiology and neuroscience, digital health and some others. But we also have all of you with who are going to be doing either OT or physiotherapy. And we also have another double degree association in optometry. So while you're here in health sciences, in the topics, you'll meet lots and lots of people from diverse range of these courses and also from other courses in the university, which kind of add to your experience. And before I came to health sciences, my background is as a nutritionist dietitian. I've spent 25 years out in practice and I've worked with lots of physios and OTs and I absolutely love them. They're can-do people. I just love their mindset and how they do everything. And here as academic lead, one of the other things that I do is work with students who are in the master's program in OT, physio, exercise physiology and dietetics at GP Plus Elizabeth, and we do some interprofessional work with them. Fantastic students, and when I talk to them, a lot of them have come up through exactly the course that you're doing. So I hope you get lots of enjoyment from it, that you really enjoy your journey, and that you enjoy working with all of us academics. So Jane and Jen are going to explain everything to you today, so I won't talk too much. And you'll also be introduced to the academics that you'll see in first year. If you see any of us, please come up and say hello. Ask us any questions. We're here to make your studies as meaningful as possible. And I'll probably see you in maybe some first year tutorials. I might see you in second year, and I might also see you in third year. So I'm looking forward to that. So if you see me, please come up and say hello. Right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, the only thing I forgot to say. Sorry. Just another hint. I don't know if any of you have had the opportunity to go on to Flow, our learning management system. So Flow stands for Flinders Learning Online. There's a Flow site there called the Health Sciences General Information. Go onto it. There's lots of information there about the courses, about events, about supporting resources, about opportunities later. So in third year, there is an opportunity to go for a short-term study overseas called the Mobility Program, and other things like that. Put a plug in. You'll remember it. It's not actually that far away, 3 years. And the other thing is that we send announcements through that site as well. So please look out for them. I know you're going to get inundated with announcements and emails from all over the place, but please look out for these because these are ones which are very relevant to what you're doing. Okay? Thanks.
And I'll provide a link to that site on one of the slides today so that you can find it later if you want it, when you want it. So, as I said, I'm course coordinator for health sciences, so I'm responsible for two key things while you're in the health sciences part of your degree. One of those is the quality of your learning experience, so I work very closely with the topic coordinators, particularly the topic coordinators from the HLTH topics, but also across the OT and physio programs to ensure that we're offering you the best possible preparation for your future roles as health professionals. I also have responsibility for your well-being, and you'll meet somebody else today who has a key role there, but I'm one of your go-to people. If things aren't going as you'd hope that they would, or you've got questions, you can't get something around your study working the way that you should, you're welcome to contact me. I have a health sciences email address. I would encourage you, if you do want to contact me, to use that address because my personal email address gets lots of emails from other people. If it comes to the health sciences address, I know it's from a student and I can prioritise it. So we'll put these slides into Flow for you so that you can go back and look at information later as you need it. So your courses. So if you are here today, mostly it's because you're in one of the double degrees, either Bachelor of Health Sciences, Master of Occupational Therapy. So who have we got who are in the OT program? Okay, great. And the Bachelor of Health Science, Masters of Physiotherapy program. Fantastic. The other double degree that we have is Bachelor of Health Science and Master of Optometry. The optometry students aren't with us today because they got a better offer that involved pizza. So we've learnt our lesson, but we'll catch up with them separately. Whichever health science degree you do, there are 10 core topics that everybody does. And then the other 14 topics that you will complete to complete your health science component will depend on which program you're in. And within that program, certainly for OT students and to a lesser extent for physio students, there's some flexibility in topics with elective and option topics. But this is the core of the BHS. If you're enrolled full-time, you'll be enrolled in HLTH 1010 Research and Study Skills 1. If you're not and you haven't got credit for it, it's really important that you go back to your enrolment and enrol in that topic. That topic is a topic that provides you with foundation skills that will be really, really useful for you to succeed at university. And in some of your other topics in first semester, we will assume at certain points that you've learnt things in that topic that you need to be able to apply in our topics. So if you're not enrolled in it and don't have credit, that I encourage you to get that sorted out. And Morgan, who is the topic coordinator, will talk to you more about that. So in first year, you'll all take the five core topics. All of the topic coordinators for those topics are here today, and an additional one for one of the topics that's in the occupational therapy program. Then you'll take other topics that are specific to your future profession. So in semester 2, physio students will take Introduction to Physiotherapy. OT students will take Introduction to Occupational Therapy, and you'll start learning about your future profession in those topics in semester 2. In second year, there are 3 core topics, another research and study skills topic, a topic that introduces you to sociological perspectives on health, and a topic that introduces you to psychological perspectives on health. One of the things that characterises the health science degree is that in addition to all of the work that you'll do in topics that look inside the body to understand health, we take a perspective on health that looks at health from outside of the body. So a number of the first year topics and those second year topics all do that, take that perspective. We know from your registration authority, from AHPRA, and your accrediting authorities, accrediting bodies, that your professions want you to have those skills when you enter the workforce. And then you'll take 5 other topics that are specific to your program. And then in third year, 2 core topics, some more research and study skills topics. And Morgan will talk more about the importance of those 3 research and study skills topics for you as future health professionals, so I'll leave it with Morgan. And then a topic that looks at legal and ethical aspects of health. So to help you understand the laws, many areas of law, that it's useful for you to be aware of as future health professionals, but also to help you to start to develop your skills in being able to independently think through ethical dilemmas that you might face in your professional practice. And then there'll be 8 other topics that you will do that will be specific to your program. Are there any questions about the program of study? Okay, it's this slide. So, you know that you're in a double degree program. You need to complete the health science component before you can go on to the master's component. And also to go on to the master's component, you need to have a GPA of equal at least 5, which in terms of grades relates to an average grade of a credit, and a credit is a mark between 65 and 74%. The details about which topics you should be enrolled in, the order that you should complete them, and any other requirements for your degree are included in the course rule for the degree. So the course rule is essentially the contract between us and you about what we will teach you and what you'll graduate with. In each one of those, I apologise, OT students, I haven't edited properly, that should say MOT, not MPT. Each one of those links will take you to that information. And what's in that information should align with the topics that you can see when you go into the student system and enrol. Okay, so if there's any discrepancy, or if you're not sure about topics or which order you should be taking topics in, please don't hesitate to contact me and just check, so that if only for your own peace of mind, that you're in the right place. I'll correct that before I put it up into flow. Okay. Free Wi-Fi, you'll use a lot of data at university, so make use of the free Wi-Fi. You should be able to log into Eduroam. Once you have logged into Eduroam, you'll be able to do it on basically any university campus in Australia. I'm hoping it sounds like most of you are comfortable that you're enrolled in all of the topics that you need to be, and you're registered for tutorials and everything is fine. But if you are unsure about the technical aspects of enrolment, you can contact Flinders Connect. If you're unsure about topics or tutorials, you can contact me in the first instance. Student card. We'll help you get in and out of places at the university. We'll help you access services on the odd occasion when you might want to borrow a hard copy book from a library. You'll need that. Probably most valuable to students these days because you get a student discount if you've got a full-time student card. So they're worth getting hold of. And you'll need them if you're going to use a student concession card on public transport. Okay, so this slide just has a step-by-step to enrol and register in topics. It sounds like you're all okay, but you can go back to this and have a look if you need to. Okay, so Louisa mentioned FLOW, which is one of the many acronyms that you will come across in the next few months. FLOW is short for Flinders Learning Online, which is our online learning management platform. Most of you who've been in high school in the last probably decade will be familiar with electronic systems for resources and readings and submitting assignments. FLOW serves that purpose, and we also use it to deliver a lot of teaching activities as well, not just resources. We use software called Canvas. So sometimes people refer to FLOW, some people will refer to Canvas, they mean the same thing. Not to be confused with Canva, which is a program for creating infographics. Okay, you should all now have access to all of the topics that you're enrolled in FLOW. In the dashboard you should be able to see a tile for each of the 4 topics that you're enrolled in this semester, or fewer if you're enrolled in less. And now is a great time to start looking into those FLOW sites and getting your head around what your semester is going to look like. Now most of the topics will have an overview of the topic and perhaps even a document, topic guide, but there'll also be some information about how your learning in the topic will be assessed and due dates. So I would encourage you to get those into your diaries reasonably quickly. Some of your topics will have either recommended or required textbooks. There is a separate website that has all of that information, but all of the information about any textbooks and any readings that you'll need to do throughout the semester will be located in your FLOW sites, and where, in most cases, there'll be a reading tab in FLOW that has a week-by-week list and links to electronic copies of any readings that you need. Most of the textbooks that we use are available as ebooks. The library, where it can, buys those to make them available to students as an equity issue. They're expensive and they often have limited numbers of concurrent users. So for many of them, only 3 or 6 people can be looking at any one textbook at one time, which means that they're not a reliable source when you're in class, because you'll be in class with 25 other people and there will only 6 of you will be able to access it. So if you do need to rely on ebooks in the library, I do strongly recommend that you access those well before your class if you need to read them. And generally I find that even for high demand books, if you go into the library site after hours, they're generally available. But plan ahead if that's your situation. Okay, library. There is still physical libraries at Flinders. There's one on the main campus and there's one here in the Sturt building on the 3rd floor of the West Wing. Has a small hard copy collection but a huge electronic collection. So Find It at Flinders is your friend. I encourage you to get to know the system that you can use to search the library for resources. It should be your first go-to place for a lot of your assignments and your topics. The libraries also have lots of nice quiet places where you can go and work as well. There's a number of rooms that you can book if you want to do group work, but lots of tables and desks and things. Okay. Many of you will have driven here today, and it probably would have been reasonably easy to park if you had. That will change on Monday. If you're parking on campus, you'll need to pay for parking, and you'll need a parking permit. You can either purchase a semester parking permit or you can use the casual parking app, and I'll show you how to access that in a minute. There's lots of buses and trains that come to Flinders. I won't go to those in any detail because most of you will have either figured that out or be in the process of figuring that out. The thing I'd like to highlight on this slide is the loop bus. So many of you will, not necessarily this semester, although if you're doing physio, you'll have a biology topic this semester. We'll have classes on other parts of the campus. The loop bus connects the main parts of the campus. There are 3 buses. One runs from the railway station to the main campus. One runs, so if we start at Sturt, we'll go down to FMC and then up to the main campus and then run around the ring road past all of the other buildings and back here. And then the third one includes most of those stops but also goes out to Tonsley campus. And there's an app where you can track the buses and I'll show you that. Okay, so this is detailed instructions on how to download the app so that you can track the loop bus. I'm not going to go through it in detail, but if you decide that would be useful to you, I recommend that you come back to the slides and use that to work through the steps. I mentioned apps, so Wollonga Charter is the app that you'll need to track the loop buses. The Solo Park app is the app that you'll need if you want to pay for casual parking on campus. I don't encourage that you tempt fate by not paying for parking because they do regularly go around the car parks and check to make sure that people have paid, and I think the fines are pretty stiff. The other app that you might want to download on your phone or device is the Lost on Campus app, a very cute little panda with a map. You can use this app to enter in room numbers, and it will, if you have location on, it will show you how to get from where you are to the building that room is in. It won't show you where to find the room in the building, but once you get to the building, people who are there will be able to help you with directions, so don't be shy about asking them. And if you use the Salo app, you'll need to put in a payment method, so a credit card or something. Security. Your safety on campus is really important. Security are here all the time. You'll see them driving around and walking around campus quite a bit. There are hotline phones to security that you'll see around the campus, and the one that's probably going to be closest to where you are at any time, well, there's one in each of the entrances to the Sturt building on the 2nd floor. I recommend that you put the security number into your phone in case you need it. I was reminded by my colleague this morning that you can actually, they provide an escort service. I'll let my colleague tell you what reason you might want an escort service. I always think of snakes, but Rowada's example is much better than mine. But also, if you ever find yourself where you're in the position of calling an emergency services vehicle, for example, an ambulance, you need to call security and let them know so security can meet them at the entrance to the university and escort them to the place where they need to be. Because despite the fact that we train most academics And most paramedics, they won't know their way around the other parts of the campus. Okay. The university is your place of work. You're entitled to a safe place of work. That means both physical safety and psychological safety. Rowena will talk in a little bit more detail about this, but we encourage you to look at the information about safety on campus and also to report anything that you see that you're concerned about. It would be great if as a bystander you felt comfortable speaking up, but we don't expect you to put your own safety at risk to do that. But one of the ways that you can contribute to improving safety on campus is letting people know when there are things that you see that aren't right. So, my colleague Rowena Saleem, who chairs our Respect Now Always committee at Sturt Campus, is going to talk to you a little bit more.
So hi everyone and welcome to your All Week. I'm sure everyone is excited and maybe you're going to be feeling overwhelmed, but we are here to support you. Now, I co-chair RNA, which is Respect Now Always. This working group aims to raise awareness regarding sexual assault and harassment, as well as increase the visibility of the available support services within the university, as well national support. Now, you'll be able to see today, if you're going to go around, that we have these posters, even here in this theatre. We've got one that are a bit more gendered, male, female. We're working on changing them to be more as diverse. Now, what do these posters represent? One of them is that if you're going to see something going as someone being hustled, assaulted, all you're going to need to do and recommend it that you see this barcode, you're going to report it. Even if you see or witness, maybe you or someone you know, they've been sexually assaulted or harassed, make sure straight away, whenever you've got time, you reported it. Now, the way of reporting it can be either you reported it through, if you go to Flinders website, which is student.flinders.edu.au/safety-on-campus, safety on campus, then you'll be able to see a report link and then you complete the form. Now, lodging a report doesn't mean it is a formal complaint. It's more about for counseling services to contact you and support you and offer you support. Later on, they might, let's say, have a discussion with you if you want to move, let's say, forward, and let's say the police have a role as a formal complaint. Now, also, in case it is something going on, you see something unacceptable behavior, or maybe you're being sexual, hopefully not, you are a survivor of an assault, all what you're going to need to do is that if you have a look at the back of your university ID card, you're going to find as well the security number. So you can call them and then they can help you. So we've got heaps of support services, so support for victims and survivors of sexual assault. We've got the Flinders Counselling Services and Disability. They will be able to help you. We've got as well a National Sexual Assault, Family and Domestic Violence Counselling line, which is 1800 Respect. We've got, which is a very national government organization called Yarrow Place. They work with the Women's and Children's Hospital. They are the main one that play a role in terms of collecting any forensic evidence in South Australia and then dealing with any survivors or victims of assault or harassment. Also, in terms of the process of supporting for victims and survivors, other than the counselling and disability services, we've got student equal opportunity advisors that will be able to help you, Office of the Commissioner for Equal Opportunity. Now, another thing which is very important, and this is what Jane mentioned about security number, it's always important to know, in case you didn't save it now on your phone, if you've got your university card, and it's more going to be efficient and quicker if you save the security number on your phone, is that straight away if maybe one of the things you're going to see around the campus, we've got koala. So maybe if you've got phobia from koala, you see a koala next to your car, you don't know what to do, straight away call the security, then they're going to come help you, okay? If you're going to go to your car later on, it's going to get a bit dark, you parked a bit up the hill, so you finished your class at 6 o'clock, especially if you're doing human bioscience, you're feeling unsafe. Personally, I'll feel unsafe to go. If I parked my car a bit very far, I need to go at night, it's very dark, 6 o'clock, it's maybe windy, raining, so call the security and they will be able to come and escort you. Maybe you reach your car, you've got a flattened tire, you need someone to help you, call the security, they will be able to help you. So whenever you feel unsafe, it is important that you let us know and you report it. Maybe you find that maybe the lighting in one of the areas, it's very dark, you can't see properly. It is important to let us know as well, report it, email the security as well, or call them and lodge a complaint so that we make sure that everyone is safe, because your safety is important as well as excelling in your academic career and in your academic study. So this is everything about RNA. The final thing I want to say, we'll be holding an event, a huge event during week 5, which is going to be 2nd of April. It's going to be as well working with FUSA, launching a campaign called as Be a Better Human under an umbrella of an event called Safety and Respect at STIRT. We're going to have the majority of the services at Flinders will have a presence. Also, we invited Shine Say, which are the leaders in sex education and sexual health as well, had a space which in reality they provide heaps of counseling support for victims and survivors of sexual harassment and assault. So this is about RNA, and this is what these flyers, if you're going to see them around the campus, they mean. Feel free to report any case. We really be thankful if you're going to do it, because we want you to be safe, because you deserve it. And thank you.
So we're just going to just do a bit of a skip, because I apologise, I spent too long talking. And I would like to introduce you to Mel Suckley, who is one of our Student Success and Wellbeing Advisors, and most importantly, the one who is relevant to our program.
Hi everyone, welcome to Flinders. I'm going to talk a little bit about support services at the uni that can help you throughout your stay here. I'm going to try and go through them as quickly as possible. You all look like you need to be out in the sunshine. But first, I just want to mention that everything that Jane and everybody else and I'm referring to today, all the support services are listed in this directory. So if you were down at the Welcome Hub before this session, you could have picked it up there. If you're coming in tomorrow, you can grab it from the Welcome Hub. We'll most likely have them around during Connect Week as well. So we don't expect you to remember everything. I know you're not going to, but it's all listed in here with QR codes to websites, how to book, how to engage with those services. So feel free to look out for those and grab them if you feel it would be useful. So my job is, Student Success and Wellbeing Advisor. What does that mean? I like to think of myself as a link to other services and supports at the university. So my role is to assist you if you run into any troubles throughout your studies, or if you're feeling at all overwhelmed, or if you're not understanding systems, or if you're not finding what you need, or you don't know what question to ask, or you don't know who to ask. You can come and have a chat with me and we'll work out what challenges you have in front of you and what some priorities are. We understand that some of you might be working maybe full-time or almost full-time or part-time or on weekends. Some of you have come from interstate or overseas. Some of you have moved out of home for the first time. Some of you are even wondering if this is the right choice for you, if uni is the best place for you right now. So when things start to wobble a little bit, your studies might not be your first priority, and we understand that. So if that happens, come and have a chat with me. We'll work out how I can assist you. I'll give you a little bit of an example of how I can help. Let's say you have just moved out of home and family is interstate and you're studying here, and you're in an okay place to live, but maybe your housemate's really noisy and causing lots of trouble, and you're thinking that you'd like to leave, but you've signed a lease. Maybe mum calls and says that your cat was hit by a car last week, and then maybe you failed your first assessment, and so you're going to be feeling pretty crappy and maybe not being able to focus on what you're doing. So come and have a chat with me. We'll work out how I can support you. I can't do much about the cat, but maybe I can refer you off to Flinders Living housing support, and you can have a chat with Kate about some other accommodation options. If you failed an assessment, maybe I can help you get in touch with the topic coordinator to maybe ask for the grade to be reviewed or to get some feedback so you can do better next time. And maybe we can also talk about some learning supports that we can put in place. So that's the type of thing that I can help you with, and it kind of covers everything. So it's not just to do with your studies. So if life is getting in the way of you being successful here, then please do engage with me. I work from here, from the Sturt campus on Tuesdays, so I can do in-person appointments down here. I can also do phone and MS Team appointments any day of the week. I'm up on the main campus in the health and counselling area other days of the week, and one day a week I also walk over at the College of Medicine and Public Health, which you don't need to remember. So, the other reason you might hear from me is if any of your teaching staff are concerned about you. So if in the next few weeks or months you're doing really well, engaging, talking to teachers, submitting everything, and then maybe something happens and you stop doing all of that, then you might hear from me because your teachers are a bit worried about you. So don't be surprised if that happens. Down the track, if you were to maybe fail a topic or fail a couple of topics, that might be another reason why teaching staff might ask me to reach out to you, especially because you need to keep your GPA 5 or above to move into your master's stream. We might be offering you some extra support to kind of help you get back on track a little bit quicker than maybe if you were just doing a straight Bachelor of Health Science. You can also come and chat to me if you're starting to think that maybe physio, OT or optometry aren't for you. There are many, many options, and I would encourage you to engage with Jane if that happens, but you can also come and chat with me about options. You don't necessarily have to feel locked into it. If it doesn't start to feel right now, next year, the year after that, come and have a chat with someone. I'm just going to run through some other supports that the uni offers. So I'm just covering them because they couldn't be here. So it's kind of general coverage of these things. We do have a student learning support service here at the uni, so you will hear about the Learning Lounge. So that's the student learning support service. They run out of the Central Library, the Sturt Library here, and the City Campus Library. And I will just say that for anyone who lives near the city, your student ID card will get you into the City Campus building. So if you are closer to the city and have a day where you don't need to be here for classes, you can study there. So you can pop into the Learning Lounge and speak to the learning advisors. They're mostly postgraduate students who have been through similar challenges as you. You can speak to them about really anything to do with your academics, like how do I write a bit smarter, I don't understand what this term paraphrasing is and how to do it. I'm challenged about how to reference. I don't really understand what this assessment question is asking me. I don't really understand how to pull out the key parts of an assessment question. They can help you with all of that. It's a drop-in service. You can go in any time. When they're open, you can work from there as well, so you can study in the Learning Lounge, and the learning advisors will kind of drop in on you periodically and see if you need any support. If you're off campus or you can't get to a Learning Lounge, then we have learning advisors available through Studiosity. So when you go into Canvas or Flow on your Okta dashboard, you'll see a tab called Studiosity. You can click on that and then click on Live Connect, and that will take you through for a 20-minute session with a learning advisor where you can have the same conversations online. They're not Flinders staff, but they're experts in their field, so they can definitely help you. There's also loads of online resources for SLSS. You'll see in Flow their SLSS module, which you can go through, and there's lots of resources. So if you get stuck, if you're not really sure, especially with regards to things like referencing, I would encourage you to download their guides and have a look at those. They're really, really useful. Better You. So Better You we've released this week. This is our new wellbeing brand, and it's kind of pulling together all of our activities and resources and information and social media to do with wellbeing. So hopefully it becomes your go-to place for anything wellbeing related. At the moment there's a bunch of stuff on there, but it will grow. But I would encourage you to go to the website, so flinders.edu.au/betteryou. There's blog posts in there. Gareth, our e-mental health officer, he writes some fantastic blogs around procrastination, about how to study, about information that's coming across through the uni, about online meditation sessions, all sorts of stuff. So you will see that kind of grow in the coming weeks and hear it more often. We have a health, counselling and disability service on the campus. So the health service has doctors and nurses. It's a fully Medicare bulk billed service. So there's no cost over and above the Medicare rebate, and if you're an international student, it's only the cost of your overseas student healthcare to see a doctor or a nurse. They also run some immunisation clinics out of there. We have an SA pathology service up there, so if you're having blood tests or anything like that, you can go up there rather than maybe going external to the uni. We also have a counselling service. This is a free and confidential counselling service, so nobody knows that you go there, nobody knows what you tell them, and they don't tell us what you tell them. So if that's something that you feel that you might need, I would encourage you to see them. They're fantastic people, very supportive and understanding, and you don't need to just see them about your academics. So if something happens in your life and you just feel like you need someone to talk to, I would encourage you to speak to them. We also have an after-hours crisis support line, so if something happens on the weekend or after hours and you really, really need to talk to someone, there's the 1300 number at the bottom, or you can SMS the 0488 number and you can talk to a counsellor over the weekend or in the evenings. We also have a disability service, so if any of you have any sort of learning challenges, mental health challenges, if you have a disability or any sort of medical condition, or if you're the carer of a person with any of those, then you can get what we call an access plan, and that gives you some extra, what we call accommodations in your studies. So it might be extra time to do assessments, it might be extra time to do exams, it might be separate locations to sit exams, it might be some excused absences if there are in-person requirements in your courses. It might be some sort of assisted learning software as well. The great thing about it is that you can go and talk to the disability advisor and provide them your evidence of the condition that you have, and then they'll give you an access plan, and that says what accommodations you get, and then you come and you give that to your topic coordinators, and you don't have to tell your topic coordinators what your condition is, why you have it, what the access plan is for. All they need to do is read it and put in place those accommodations. So you only have to tell your story to one person, and you don't have to share to everybody at the university why it is that you have an access plan. Again, I would say that they are extremely confidential, and they can also support you if you're having any challenges navigating your access plan in terms of negotiating with topic coordinators. They can also come and assist you with that. Health, counselling and disability have a bunch of online resources. In fact, most of our support services here have an online presence, so I would encourage you, if that's something that's of interest, to investigate. Just on access plans, if you haven't yet approached disability services about one and you think that you will need one, I would do it sooner rather than later. It can take a little bit of time, and they are really quite busy at this time of year. Okay, Oasis is our student wellbeing centre. It's up on main campus. It's next to the drama centre, which won't mean much to all of you. It's also near my favourite coffee place, Café Bon Voyage. So Oasis is our drop-in space. You are welcome to drop in there, to study from there, to go there if you just feel like a chat. There's free tea and coffee, study spaces, prayer rooms, musical instruments, puzzles, all sorts of stuff. We also run a bunch of wellbeing activities out of Oasis. So again, coming back under that Better You umbrella, Oasis will now sit under that. Dave, our chaplain, does forest walks, and there is also a chaplaincy service in Oasis, so if you feel like some spiritual support, you can get it from there. We have conversation groups. In terms 2 and 3, there's free soup on Wednesdays, which is the winter warmers. They're looking for wellbeing ambassadors now, so if this is stuff that interests you, I would encourage you to approach Oasis about being a volunteer. The thing I want to highlight most is the Flinders Community Market. So if you have recently moved out of home, or you're not living at home with parents cooking you dinner every night, then Flinders Community Market might be something that you want to engage with. Every Thursday during term time between 11 and 2, you can get free fruit and vegetables and bread and low-cost pantry items. You just need your student ID card, a little bit of money and your shopping bags. So I would encourage you to pop in and have a look at that. It's very, very popular. The queue is usually out of the door. They'll be around, like they were down in the cafe earlier. They'll be around during Connect Week, and you'll hear from Oasis again most likely in Wellbeing Week, which is in around week 7, I think. Any international students in the room? A couple. So I guess ISS, International Student Services, is your one-stop shop for everything kind of related to your studies. If you need any support, you can go and speak to an international student advisor. They can assist you with all those things mentioned on the slide. If you've got any questions about your COE or your visa, you can also approach them. And on Friday, they've got their welcome event up in the main hub. So if you haven't registered for the welcome event yet, I would encourage you to do so. They're a great bunch, and they've all been international students themselves, so they know what you're going through. So definitely don't be a stranger. And you don't necessarily need to book beforehand. You can just rock up to their offices in the student hub, and usually you can speak to someone pretty quickly. Eunkerinthi is our space for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. So we have a support service running out of there specifically for ATSE students. They offer some free tutoring, financial support, study skills support. They also have free tea and coffee again, and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander staff to support you. So if you are Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander, I would encourage you to engage with Eunkerinthi if you haven't yet. I believe they had an orientation last week, so you most likely were at that. The Pride Network, just to highlight that the Pride Network exists here at Flinders. If you are, I think Tracy said, if you're at all curious, be curious. If you want to, we call for allies, for supporters of our Pride Network, so you don't necessarily need to be LGBT plus to join the Pride Network. If you are supportive and curious, we encourage you to take an interest in Pride Network. And career readiness. So you're most likely thinking, wait, it's week 1 of 5 years, don't talk to me about jobs. And I know what I'm going to be because I'm in a combined master's degree. I would encourage you to engage with the Career Readiness team. They're a fantastic bunch. They offer lots of graduate opportunities, and I think it's important not just for you guys to think about the jobs you might have, but also the jobs they might be called, what they might be called, what types of industries might be hiring, where you might be able to take your studies in the future. They also run a lot of events and workshops. They have a lot of online resources. So in the Okta dashboard, you'll see a tile called Career Hub. You can go in there, click on it. There's lots of stuff there. They also run events periodically where you can get a LinkedIn photo, you can talk to someone about your resume, you can practice your job interview skills, things like that. They also run a Horizon professional development program. So if you want to develop some additional skills alongside your degree, then I would encourage you to engage with them. I think that's my last slide. It is. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is that everything?
Any questions for Mel?
No?
Thank you.
Bye. Enjoy the rest of the day.
I'm going to ask Jen Fish to introduce the first year topic coordinators, but before I do that, I would like to introduce Jen. So Jen is the person